guys, what's happening? Welcome back to another episode of We the People, where the people come for the truth. And this one here is for all my Maryland people. Chris Van Holland, proven to be the liar that he is. Let's get him out of there. Let's get a Republican put in his spot. Patel makes him look dumber than hell. Let's go. Save America Act. I'll see you on the next.
If Chuck Schumer decides not to run for re-election, if he loses the confidence of the Democrat caucus in the next 2 years and won't be the minority leader in the Senate, or maybe AOC will challenge him and defeat him in the primary. Either way, they're already writing the political obit for Chuck Schumer, and they're already measuring the drapes for Chris Van Holland. So he's got to show the base what a tough guy he is. Now, last time we saw Chris Van Holland, of course, he was down in El Salvador looking after the most important man in Maryland. That was the MS-13 gangbanger known as Abrego Garcia, I think. I don't know. I blocked his name out at this point. Thank God. He was the most important story on the planet a few months ago, but the world has moved on. But Kash Patel reminded Chris Van Holland of his dalliance with the gangbanger, child trafficker, alleged child pornographer, human trafficker during this testimony, where Chris Van Holland played the old Washington game that everybody loves to play. Repeat fake, damning, anonymous sourced, completely uncorroborated accusations against a politician and get them into the public record and make somebody under oath deny them, thus giving more weight to the anonymous, uncorroborated, fake accusations. In this case, it was the completely anonymous and uncorroborated fake accusations that Kash Patel is frequently drinking on the job, drunk on the job, impossible to wake up, hard to locate, missing in action. No one on the record putting their name to these charges have ever stepped forward. But, of course, because The Atlantic published it, Chris Van Holland decided it was the stuff of a Senate hearing and the congressional record. Now, pay close attention to what happened here, as Kash Patel did what President Trump loves his people to do. He fought back. Here we go.
Multiple reports, including reporting by The Atlantic, have alleged episodes of excessive drinking, unexplained absences, and behavior that concern current and former FBI and DOJ officials. You have publicly denied those allegations and filed a defamation lawsuit. So today, as you testify before Congress, is it your testimony that those allegations are categorically false?
Unequivocally, categorically false.
So there have been no occasions during your tenure when FBI personnel were unable to promptly reach you?
Absolutely not. You can ask my entire workforce. They hear from me at every single hour of the day, as do these great gentlemen here, as do the men and women of the interagency and state and local law enforcement and the White House.
And so there have been no occasions when your security detail had difficulty waking or locating you. Is that right?
Exactly what Chris Van Holland is doing here. All right, so the first question and the first answer should have been enough. There are all these reports about all of this behavior and all of this damning information. It's been published in multiple sources, and he referenced the Atlantic article that I just referenced. And again, I want to reiterate, not one person has come forward to corroborate this, not one person on the record saying, yes, this happened. There's no evidence at all other than anonymous people trying to slime somebody. He asked Kash Patel the question. Kash Patel said, unequivocally, categorically, none of that is true. It's all false. That should be enough. And so then what does Senator Van Holland do? Then, to get it all in the record, he repeats one by one every single one of the accusations that Kash Patel just blanket denied and said was not true, unequivocally, uncategorically, without reservation. That should be enough. And no, Chris Van Holland wants to damage this man's character with lies and innuendo and unsupported accusations, because this is why people hate Congress. Because this is what Democrats more often than not do. Yes, Republicans play this game too sometimes, and I like it when they fight back, because why should they unilaterally disarm? But right now, this is what Democrats have done to Trump and the Trump administration and supporters of President Trump for a decade now. So he asks the question, Kash Patel says none of it's true, and now he goes point by point by point, repeating every single accusation that has just been denied so that it's in the record, and it makes it look like Kash Patel is in some way guilty of something that he is not guilty of, or certainly hasn't been proven in any way whatsoever. guilty of. None of the evidence that Chris Van Holland is using from these articles in a congressional hearing now, in a Senate hearing, would ever be accepted in a court of law. He knows that. Everybody knows that, but they don't care because this is the politics of personal destruction. And they want to kill, metaphorically speaking, Kash Patel's character. All right, let's pick it up where we left off.
Nope, it's a total farce. I don't even know where you get this stuff, but it doesn't make it credible because you say so.
I'm not saying it, Director Patel. It's been written and documented.
You are literally saying it.
No, I'm saying that these are reports, Director Patel.
No,
and
unlike
I
your
will
baseless
say,
reports,
Director
the only person
Patel,
that was slinging margaritas in El Salvador on the taxpayer dollar with a convicted gangbanging rapist was you.
You know,
the only person that ran up a $7,000 bar tab in Washington, D.C. at the lobby bar was you. So the only individual in this room that has been drinking on taxpayer dime during the day is you.
Director Patel, come on. These are serious allegations that were made against you. They're in a lawsuit that you filed.
You drinking margaritas with a gangbanger is true and on video.
It just goes to show you
running a $7,000 bar tab at the lobby bar has been filed by your own office.
This goes to show
drink during the day. That's you. This is the ultimate example of hypocrisy.
Mr. Chairman,
I will not be tarnished by baseless allegations and fraudulent statements from the media.
The fact that you mentioned that indicates you don't know what you are talking about. Now, here, Director
The only thing I know is you're the one drinking margaritas with felons.
Actually, that's a false statement, and I'm asking you about your statements.
I've answered that.
And I'm asking you about a particular report. And
it's not a report.
Testimony so let me ask you this. Are you willing to take the test, that it's called the audit test, that members of our active duty military and others take to determine whether they have a drinking problem?
I'll take any test you're willing to take.
I will take it, Director Patel. I'll take it. You ready to take it?
Let's go.
Yes or no?
Let's go. Side by side.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's obscene, and I do love seeing Kash Patel and other members of this administration fighting back like that against weasels who hide behind their microphone and anonymously sourced articles in The Atlantic or what have you. It's been reported, so I've got to repeat it to you. But then Van Holland came back, and he decided, well, that made him look bad, which it did, and so now he decided to put Kash Patel on the defensive again, and this time, instead of actually talking about the reports that are unfounded and uncorroborated and anonymously sourced, he's decided that the problem is Kash Patel's behavior in the hearing, fighting back and putting Van Holland on the defensive. All right, so here we go with this one.
In your response to me earlier, where you had a little bit of a blow up, you made a couple provably false statements.
So did you.
No, Mr. Director, I was reading about and asking you to respond to allegations that are made. In fact, I was giving you an opportunity to do that, and you took that opportunity. But in the process, you made these provably false statements that I know are sort of like urban legend in right-wing media about margaritas in El Salvador, which is provably false. And so coming from the mouth of an FBI director to make provably false statements in a hearing like this is extremely troubling. And it leads me to ask whether or not the other things you've been saying are false statements. And so because that's a provably false statement. You made a couple others that are provably false. And this is from the mouth of the FBI director.
The only one that made false statements is you.
My final question to you, Mr. Director, is do you know that it is a crime to lie to Congress? Do you know that? That's my last question.
I have not lied to Congress.
I didn't ask you that.
Lied to Congress is you.
Do you? I'm not testifying here, sir, and I don't lie.
Maybe the next time you run up a $7,000 bar tab, we can talk about it.
Well, see, there you go, lying again. You suggested
in the FEC report. I'll post it right now.
You suggested it was public. It wasn't public money, as you know. That was for a 50-member staff party.
So it was a $7,000 bar tab.
Yeah, this is good stuff. By the way, did you know that it's against the law to lie to Congress? Literally, Kash Patel's predecessor, Chris Wray, lied to Congress, and his predecessor, Jim Comey, lied to Congress. Well, Kash Patel did bring the receipts. They weren't provably false. In fact, they're provable. The margaritas and the $7,000 bar tab. We'll talk about it next. I'm Larry O'Connor. Good morning, Larry O'Cotter here. It's 22 minutes after the hour, and just to button things up here with Cash Patel and Chris Van Holland. Well, you heard the thing that Chris Van Holland kept saying there in that second clip there. Provably false. You said things that are provably false. Margaritas, provably false. Spend $7,000 in a bar in D.C., provably false. That's provably false. Cash Patel posted this on social media about an hour after that hearing. This is the document right here that shows that Chris Van Holland spent and expensed over $7,000 at the lobby bar on L Street. Beautiful place for one night of a social occasion there. It turns out he claims it was for his staff. Also, by the way, it's funny. He said, hey, there's nothing wrong with this. I didn't use taxpayer dollars. That's not $7,000 in taxpayer dollars. I used campaign money for that. Think about this for a minute. You're some farmer in Maryland, and you think Chris Van Holland's looking out for you, and you're the little guy, and he's the Democrat who's fighting for you, and you want to help him win re-election so that he can continue to be your senator and look out for the little guy, the dairy farmer in Western Maryland. So you send $20 to Chris Van Holland, and he takes your $20 and he spends it as part of a $7,000 bar tab at a ritzy downtown D.C. saloon to celebrate his staff over the holidays. Why does he think it's better that he used campaign money for this?
No, so they can't prove that Cash Patel is guilty of anything, but we can prove quite a few things about Chris Van Holland. One, that he did go down to El Salvador and drink margaritas with a known rapist, allegedly. Abrego Garcia was a known human trafficker. He was a drug smuggler as well as a woman beater. Okay. Secondly, the $7,000 tab at the bar, right? We know he's guilty of that. But most of all, what Chris Van Holland is guilty of is being a complete freaking imbecile. He is disgustingly, demonstrably stupid. And I don't say that about many people. But this man does not care about his constituency at all. And if you live in Maryland and you have the chance to vote for Chris Van Holland, I would suggest you vote him out. Try voting a Republican in and see what a Republican can do for our state. If all you Democrats out there took a chance and just voted Republican, right? Because remember, the Democrats just harvest your votes, especially in Baltimore. All the black people that live in Baltimore, yeah, they need your votes. They harvest your votes. Show them something different. Care about your community, and you'll see that the Republicans have always been there for the black community. The Democrats only cared about your vote.
Alan, in terms of the spread and what we understand, and I think people's questions, given that you could have people who are from Nebraska, and obviously there's already people around the country who came off of that ship, right? But then these individuals may also be able to return home. I want to play what officials said today about how they're describing the spread. Here's what they said.
We're talking about exposure to specifically to bodily fluids, and then that could include things like saliva. So if you're sharing eating utensils, kissing, touching, those type of things. It can also mean just being really, really close to that person for a fairly long period of time. So we're calling that 6 feet for at least a cumulative number of 15 minutes.
Do that again? Oh my gosh! Wait for it.
So, Dr. Allen, I guess what I'm saying is that would people are in a restaurant. I can think of lots of places where you're 6 feet away from people that you're not actually spending time with. Although Gustavo and I will have passed that test here in the time we've been sitting here. You did also find, though, Professor Allen, past cases that did not require the prolonged close contact that was just described there.
Wait for it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Aaron. I think they have half the story right, is it can be transmitted through bodily fluids and close contact, but they're missing the other half of the story. Dr. Palacios just told us it is the exact same strain of the Andes strain that we've previously seen that spreads human to human. And in those prior outbreaks that happened on land, it didn't require prolonged close contact. In fact, one person passed it to another person at a birthday party simply by passing by and saying hello.
it again, y'all. You understand
sure
that
are.
this is what's happening right now.
They sure are.
You have to decide right the hell now, if you haven't already, if you're going to participate in the madness and the psyop yet again.
I've been kind of encouraged by the fact that a lot of these pundits and news people and some of the doctors have been fairly restrained up until now. But, I mean, that's the same kind of garbage we heard during COVID. Same thing.
So don't say hello at a birthday party, and you should be fine.
You should be fine.
You just keep to yourself.
Is this going to be like COVID where when you're standing, you can get it, but when you're sitting, you can't get it? Or was it vice versa on that? You walk through the restaurant.
Yeah, you got to wear your mask.
You got to wear your mask.
But when you sit down,
because
the
then
virus,
you can't get it because the virus is going over your head.
High.
Yeah,
it's too high.
Yeah,
I want to ingrain these moments right now.
All right, guys, I thank every last one of y'all for stopping by. God bless each and every one of y'all. I hope you like the content that you got to see. Hit that subscribe, like, and share. And if this is in Maryland, I hope it really impacts you and impacts your thinking. Thank you for watching again. If you like the content that I bring, think about buying me a coffee. All proceeds go to the channel. Thank you very much. We would like to get ground news for the channel to bring better content. So buying a coffee will help us to get a month of ground news. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the next one.